Is it acceptable for guests to post about the wedding on social media before the couple does? What are some creative ways for couples to save money instead of having a cash bar at a wedding? What is the recommended time frame for sending handwritten thank you notes after your wedding? Today, we'll answer those questions more.
Weddings are fun, but they can also bring drama. From guest list issues to social media slip-ups, there's plenty of problems to avoid. To keep things stress-free, we've got the things you can avoid at weddings. By the end of this edition, whether you're planning or attending, these tips will ensure everything goes smoothly.
Listen now and discover ultimate wedding etiquette. Avoid these mistakes as a host or a guest. These are insider secrets for a stress-free, fun, and memorable day. Our podcast helps engaged couples navigate wedding planning complexities. While addressing family expectations, we will guide you through the journey of creating the perfect wedding day without unnecessary stress. Get concise tips on budgeting, wedding party management, ceremony, reception planning, and more. Perfect for anyone planning a wedding, all in 30 minutes or less. Trust us, you don't want to miss this.
Welcome to Stress-Free Wedding Planning, the podcast that will transform your wedding planning journey from chaotic to enchanting. Sal and Sam bring over 80 years of combined wedding expertise and exclusive insider information to the table. If you're recently engaged, feeling the pressure of wedding planning, struggling with family expectations, but still dreaming of a joy-filled wedding, you've come to the right place. Get ready to unveil the best-kept wedding secrets, discover practical tips and strategies, and learn life-changing lessons for a stress-free wedding. Your unforgettable wedding day awaits. We're here to take you on a transformative journey of love, laughter, and memories. So don't miss out on the podcast that just might change your life. This is the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast with Sal and Sam.
Learn more about our experience and the journey to help you with stress-free wedding planning in the trailer or pilots of this podcast.
In today's edition, Ultimate Wedding Etiquette. Avoid these mistakes as a host or guest. It's brought to you in part by Lear Vision Productions and Wedding Styles of Connecticut Wedding Shows. That's weddingstylesofct.com. But first, if you have a question or concern, go now to Facebook and join us on the stress-free wedding planning community and ask away. You can join us on our YouTube channel. Just search for Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast, subscribe, and get it first.
Today, the focus of our discussion is, as a guest or host, what you should or shouldn't do at a wedding. Now, if you're the host, we're going to go through the first half of this with some items that you should definitely avoid, some mistakes that you should definitely avoid. The first one is, as the host, don't discuss wedding details until it's time to send out those invitations. So if you're the couple, the bride and the groom, don't start discussing wedding items or things that you need to talk about before you send out those invitations, because, you may not invite the people that you're talking to the wedding. So you might start out with your heart set on having this or that for the wedding. Maybe it's your favorite hotel, your favorite city. And then you find out that, maybe that 200-person wedding isn't the sort of wedding that you're going to have, and it's going to be a micro wedding in your backyard. Also, allow yourself room to have a little flexibility so that, anything that you might want to promise before sending out the invitations, you might want to surprise your guests with. Now, Sal, isn't it typical that you're so excited about the wedding that you want to talk about it?
Oh, yes, of course. It's one of the biggest days of your life, so you want to tell everyone and anyone who will listen. But you got to keep in mind, things change, and you don't want to give out all this information to have to retract it later. So just keep that in mind. Keep it under the hood. Keep it with the people who need to know only. And because things will absolutely change. You'll find out your budget is not as big as you thought it was, or it's going to cost more than you thought it was to do certain things. So you're now not going to be able to do that. So by keeping it under the hood and just plan away and let all the changes happen and then come out with it when you need to, that's your best approach. There's no embarrassing moment that way, and it just makes you feel a lot less stress-free worrying about, people, what they already knew, and like, oh no, I got to tell we're not doing that. And as Sam said, you're not going to be able to invite everyone, so you got to be careful on who you're talking to about the wedding, because you may not be able to invite that person that you are talking with. Another thing you should worry about is don't include your wedding registry information in your invitation, okay? Considered kind of tacky. Most people are giving money nowadays, so if they want to know about your registry, the best way to do it is put it on your website and share it in other ways. Word of mouth is another good way of doing it if you're going to have it. But again, I don't know about you, Sam, I'm finding that more and more that when I look at that gift table, I'm not seeing a whole lot of gifts. I'm seeing a lot more envelopes going into the envelope box. So I think there's a lot more cash and checks that are being given to people nowadays other than presents. Now, it is said you can ask for a high price item, a high ticket item, as they say, but you have to make sure you include a number of gifts that are at a much more reasonable rate. That's just the proper thing to do. Again, you could ask for a high price ticket, but make sure there's more than enough at a normal rate that will be comfortable for your guests.
Yes, you're right, Sal. I would agree that there are fewer and fewer gifts being brought to the reception. And that's because I think most of the guests would prefer to either use the registry or, put money in an envelope or write a check. Now, remember, you set up a wedding registry literally as soon as you set up your wedding website. That's where your registry should, or at least a link to it, should be set up. And here's a little pro tip for you. Don't put all of your expensive items in the wedding registry. You have to kind of understand that you're not going to get all of these items. And especially me, because I'm cheap. When I see items on a wedding registry that are too expensive, I just skip by that and pick up something more reasonable, just give cash. I'm not alone in my thought. There are going to be a lot of people who are going to do the same thing. So, make sure you sprinkle some inexpensive, dare I say, cheap items, or just go with cash. Just tell your guests, we don't want anything. We already live together. We have a house together. We just want cash. There is absolutely nothing wrong in doing that. And a little aside on that, too, is never forget that you're still the host. Yes, it's your day, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't consider your guests. Take, for instance, being a DJ. Sal, I'm sure you get this. All they want to hear is country music or heavy metal music or old rap music. That's not really thinking of the guests, is it, Sal?
No, you have to consider all the ages out there. You want to kind of sprinkle it around for everyone. And there's some music that is just not appropriate at a wedding. Much of that is the real serious heavy metal type stuff. But there is, obviously rock that can be played that should be, a happy medium for everyone. But you definitely want to have a mixed bag. You want to take care of all the ages so everyone is having a good time. That is just so important. When you have kids at your wedding, we're talking 13 and younger, you want to make sure there's activities for them, because the dance floor usually is not as a big deal to them as anything else. So you just want to have a way to entertain them, I should say, if they're not dancers. I always say, hey, adult reception is the best way to go, so you wouldn't even have to worry about that. So something to consider.
I agree totally. I really love the adult-only wedding receptions. Personally, I believe weddings are for adults and not for kids. But, each to his own. It's your wedding. You do what you want. I just also want to mention one other point about, don't forget, you're still the host and you got to think about your guests, is having your wedding all in one location. That is to say, the ceremony is in the same location as the cocktail hour, as the reception. A lot of your guests are not going to appreciate going from one end of the state for the ceremony to the other end of the state for the reception. I've even had it where the cocktail hour is in a third location. That's sometimes too much. You may be able to handle it, but some of your guests, dare I say, your older guests, are not going to think this is feasible or fun at all.
So, I totally agree about having everything at one place. It also makes it a little less stress for you, too, knowing that everything is going to happen in one location and you're able to go from one thing to the next very smoothly, no car rides, nothing that could go wrong on the road. So, keeping everything in one place, most facilities do that nowadays. You can have the ceremony, cocktail, and reception all in that one small location and really take care of everything. Now, another etiquette mistake you need to avoid is the cash bar. No one carries cash anymore, and most places don't take credit cards. It's kind of a downer for the people who spent all this money for you on your wedding day. Either it be the travel, it being having to have a hotel, the clothing they had to buy just for your wedding. So there are creative ways to make it cheaper for yourself and still have what we call an open bar. And that is, maybe you just do beer and wine, or you could have an full open bar for a specific period of time, maybe the cocktail hour, and then the rest of the night be just beer and wine, just to make it cheaper for yourselves. These are just ways to try to cut down, but still everyone having a great time and feeling comfortable.
Remember, if drinking is not your lifestyle, you don't have to have a bar. You don't have to serve alcohol at all. It really is up to you. It's your wedding day, and if especially family members are drinkers and you don't want them to be intoxicated, you can have other beverages that are non-alcoholic. Now, obviously, some of your guests may not like that, but it's your wedding. If it's an issue of cost, there are creative ways to save. You can have just beer and wine, or you can have specialty cocktails, or just have an open bar for a certain amount of time and then switch to beer and wine service after that. Loads of different ways that you can save money if that's the way you need to do it. But remember, you don't have to have alcohol at your wedding. Speaking of another don't, here's another mistake that you need to avoid when you're planning your wedding, and that's not taking your bridal party for granted. Your wedding party, your bridesmaids, your groomsmen, your close friends, your family members, don't start delegating stuff to them that it is impossible for them to do, and understand that they don't have the financial means to do some things. Again, don't ask them to do it. Before asking somebody to be in your wedding party, investigate. Ask them, look, I'm thinking of having you in my wedding party, but I know you may or may not be financially ready to do that. Is this something that you want to do? There is some costs involved to it, and I don't want to burden you down. That will be the best way to do it. Now, another item is the bridal shower. It's customary for the bridesmaids to plan it. You don't have to do that. If your bridesmaids all live out of town, maybe your mom wants to do it, or a sister-in-law wants to do it, or you can plan it yourself. Nothing wrong in do that. Always consider your budget when you're doing this planning process. What are your thoughts on a couple taking advantage of the wedding party, Sal?
Obviously, it's something that you don't want to do, but not everyone is a planner. Not everyone is good at that type of thing. So you may want to go outside of the wedding party for that. You want to make sure when someone takes on a job, it's something that they are very capable of doing, and they're not going to be so stressed out and it just, turns out to be garbage at the end. So really getting to know, the people you're looking to have in your wedding party, knowing their strengths, knowing their weaknesses. Once you do have your group together, have a wedding meeting and go over everything that needs to get done, and ask for volunteers on who can do it, because always the person who volunteers is usually someone who could handle that particular job, which makes it so much better when it comes to placing someone to head something up. Another very important thing that we are finding that couples are making a big mistake with is skipping the thank yous. You can't skip those, or they will take too long to get the thank yous. It is proper etiquette to have it a month after your wedding. Get the thank yous out. Handwritten is always nice. If they gave you a special gift, thank them for that gift. If they gave money, thank you for the generous gift of money. It's greatly appreciated. Proper etiquette says you could do it. You could take a year, but that's too long. That's too long. The family's already going to be talking about you. Friends are going to be talking about you. You want to get that out of you want to get it off your plate. Just get it out of there, get off your plate. You should show appreciation for what was done for you. Absolutely. So that's very important.
That's excellent advice there about the thank yous. Before we go for a break, let's give you a pro tip. It's all about Amazon and what they do now. Sal will explain.
Can you believe this? Amazon now has a service where you could hire a DJ for your wedding. Oh, that is so cringeworthy. What professional is going to use Amazon to book them out? It doesn't make any sense. You have to be careful of the quality you're really getting and something like that. And the DJ is paying a lot of money to Amazon to have that happen. So it doesn't make any sense. You're not going to always get the quality you want, and it might end up being more expensive in the long run because that DJ needs to make money too, and they have to charge a little higher to kind of combat the fee they're going to get from Amazon.
Buyer beware. Amazon is now providing the DJ for your wedding. So we've just explained that if you're the host, you shouldn't discuss wedding details until it's time to send out those invitations. We've also explained to you that you shouldn't include your wedding registry information in your invitation. And don't forget, you're still the host. So act like the host and be generous to whoever else you're having in your wedding party, etc. And then we discussed with you about having a cash bar. Obviously, that's not a good idea. And don't skip those thank yous.
And coming up next, now we'll talk about the do's and don'ts for guests.
This is the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast with Sal and Sam, a podcast for engaged couples concerned about wedding planning and family expectations, but who want a stress-free, fun, and unforgettable wedding.
Wedding Tip Wednesday is brought to you by Emerge Cosmetics. Are you ready to emerge? Our line of lipsticks, lip glosses, and mascaras was created to empower and become who you truly are. Strong, beautiful, and confident. Use the coupon code SF1 at emergecosmetics.com for an instant 10% off. That's coupon code SF1 at emergecosmetics.com. Emerge is the true you.
On today's Wedding Tip Wednesday, pick your wedding party wisely. Don't just pick people because of your best friend or they're a family member. You want to make sure you pick people that have that personality that's going to show energy and love and make the day about you.
That's right. Pick your wedding party wisely. Remember, you don't have to pick anyone if you don't want to, and especially negative friends or negative people, negative family members. You don't need them at your wedding reception. And that's another tip from Sal and Sam.
Wedding Tip Wednesday is available on the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Facebook group page every Wednesday. Join the group for free.
Are you ready to take your wedding business to the next level? Do you feel your marketing plan needs help? Then say I do to theclearvisionagency.com for improved online visibility and more bookings. Make your wedding business sparkle and get ready to see real results. The Clear Vision Agency can create a picture-perfect online presence for your wedding business with our SEO, social media management, content, and digital advertising programs. Theclearvisionagency.com. Call us today to claim your free digital audit, and let's see how your business stacks up against the competition. Go to theclearvisionagency.com.
And now back to the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast.
Welcome back to the discussion of ultimate wedding etiquette. Avoid these mistakes as a host or guest. Hi, I'm Sal Fusco of After Hours Events of New England, the leader in making your wedding stress-free. Visit us on the web at afterhoursevents.com.
Hi, I'm Sam from Atmosphere Productions, wedding entertainment with expert knowledge and the difference in quality. Visit us at atmosphere-productions.com. Now we're going to discuss mistakes that you need to avoid if you are a guest. Don't ask if you're invited to the wedding. If you know your friend just got engaged, do not ask, hey, am I coming to the wedding? Because you have to be considerate to the couple. They don't know who they're going to be inviting if they just got engaged. And to be blunt, it's none of your business. Let them invite you to that wedding. When you've only ever seen someone in one context, like at school or work or family gathering, it will be impossible for you to judge the true scope of the community that this person has. You may not even be included in their circle of friends, but you may see them at work, family gatherings. You may see them at school. So please, please, please don't ask if you were invited to somebody's wedding.
And don't make the assumption either, because you might hear about the wedding from someone else, and don't assume you're invited. You shouldn't even talk about the wedding unless that person talks about the wedding. So that's another very important thing. Never put one of the two in the couple to feel very awkward about things. Keep it to yourself. And if you're invited, great. If you're not invited, you need to understand there are circumstances and why you may not have been invited. Now, another thing, oh my God, this thing drives me crazy, Sam. The RSVPs. You don't want to forget about the RSVPs. I have way too many couples who are coming to the home stretch, and they sent out 150 invitations and they only got back 100, and we have 3 days left. It's really ridiculous. Take care of it right away. Don't let it sit somewhere. As soon as you get it, you know you're going or you're not going, send it on its way so that the couple knows. They need to have that. You can't just assume they know you're coming and just show up that day, because you're not part of that count if you didn't RSVP. So it is very important that you're communicating with the couple and getting that to them. Don't tell them about it. Get them the RSVP. That's how they keep perfect records and know exactly who's coming to their wedding. And also, if there's a dinner choice in there, they know what you're looking to have for a meal. So just let them know all the details they need to know so they can prepare properly for their wedding.
So Sam's rules for going to weddings as a guest, number one, is make sure you send that RSVP back the day you get it. What I do is, as soon as I get a wedding invitation from a client or from a family member, I sit down, check the calendar, and then fill it in right away, put a stamp on it if it needs a stamp, lick it, do whatever it needs to put it back in that envelope and send it away. Simple. Then you don't have to worry about it. Now, there's other occasions, of course, where you may not be able to do that as efficiently as Sam here is. So maybe you lost it. Well, then contact the couple and say, hey, I lost my RSVP. Can I give you the details? Or can you send me another one? Do not just show up on the day without having sent RSVP back. Look at it as this. If you don't send an RSVP back, you're not expected to be at the wedding, so don't show up. Basically is what it's come to nowadays, because the couple do definitely need to know what those RSVPs are. Now, another item that is cringeworthy for me, another mistake that you as a guest must avoid is the dress code. Now, Sal, what color shouldn't you wear to somebody else's wedding?
Absolutely, positively, no white. Do not wear white.
You would think that would be obvious, but how many times that I can tell you that I've gone to a wedding of a client's and somebody else is wearing an off-white dress. There are millions of other colors that you can choose. Do not choose something that is even close to white. You have so many other choices out there. And this goes for the men also. Do not wear a white suit. Do not wear anything white. A white baseball cap, a white jeans. Do not. These things are off limit.
Don't wear jeans at all. How about that? That's not part of the dress code, unless if they ask you to do so. I got to tell you, I had someone who was a culprit in a couple different ways with the dress code just recently, Sam, and that was a woman showed up wearing a white dress, but what made it worse is the cut of the dress. She was showing off her breasts big time, and it was a real low cut in front of her. She had a tattoo. Again, attractive woman, but this is no place to be doing that type of thing. So she wore white for one thing, and she wore an item that she really shouldn't have at someone else's wedding, trying to draw the attention to her. Got to remember, the attention should be on our bride and our groom or whoever the couple may be. This is very important. Don't take the attention away.
One more item that we should definitely mention that etiquette says you need to avoid is posting on social media. Now, there are times when you can, take a dancing shot or some fun shots and post. But a lot of couples nowadays are refraining from ceremony pictures. They're having unplugged ceremonies. And there's a reason for that. The couple wants the professional pictures posted first. They don't want shady iPhone pictures on Facebook or Twitter before their pictures are done. So be very careful. You can, of course, ask, hey, can I post some of the pictures from your wedding? And if they say, yeah, go ahead. But if they say no, you must definitely honor that request.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Sam, going back to what you said about the ceremony, that's such an intimate time of the wedding, and a lot of couples just don't want that out there. They don't want it to be in video. So they want the professional pictures. If they had a videographer, they're going to have a professional video going out eventually. Sometimes couples will actually assign someone, one person, to do video, and then they can share that with everyone else at a later time. When the couple actually gets to view it first, they want to be part of that special moment themselves and be able to see, how it unfolded before it ends up on the internet. Let me tell you, I've watched people try to do Facebook Live, and on behalf of the couple, I've had to ask people to put that phone away. They do not want this on social media right now. They want to view it themselves first before anyone gets their hands on it. And now, a final thought. Don't ask someone to marry you at somebody else's wedding. A proposal is so inappropriate. Again, you're taking the limelight away from the couple themselves, and you're making this day the most important day to you instead of who it should be for, the people that you came to this wedding for. You want to propose later? Go ahead. When you go, if you have a hotel room that you're going to afterwards, go for it. You want to go to a park later on? Go for it. But don't do it at the wedding. It's just completely inappropriate.
So there you have it. We just provided some insider tips on ultimate wedding etiquette. Avoid these mistakes as a host or guest. Hopefully these insights will help you navigate your big day smoothly. And in short, it's everything you dreamed of. What do you think of some of these items? Are you planning on doing any of these? Tell us all about it in our Facebook community.
Now, as you spend the next week planning your wedding, if you want me, Sam, or our community of stress-free engaged couples and wedding experts to answer any wedding-related questions, join us over in the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Facebook group.
Once you're in, go ahead and share your concerns and worries, and we'll let you know if you're on the right track or if there's something we need to work on. The link to join us is in the show notes of this edition. Or go to Facebook and search for the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Community.
A new edition is released every Wednesday. Subscribe and get it first. Remember to do something nice for someone today. And if you can't, do something nice for yourself. We'll catch you then. Ciao.
Thank you for listening to this edition. If you've enjoyed what you've just heard, leave a review and share it with a friend or someone who would benefit from this information. Until next time, it's TTFN. Ta-ta for now.
The Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast is produced and copyrighted by Atmosphere Productions in association with After Hours Events of New England.
Sponsored in part by Clear Vision Productions and the Wedding Styles of Connecticut Wedding Show Series.